Hi, I'm Mikey Dredd. Welcome to Bowling Science, brought to you by Bowlify. Today, we're back to discuss the all-new Radical Results. This is a new ball that's breaking the mold for what strong asymmetricals are and what they can do for you and your ball reaction. In the last episode, my dad, Mo Pinnell, product designer for Radical Bowling Technologies, unveiled this ball, and we showed it on a typical house shot, and with 3 different layouts, showed 3 different resulting shapes that you can create with this ball. Today, we're back on a 37-foot sport pattern to talk about how we create those different shapes and how this core really does do its magic. Mo taught us that it's not just numbers, but core shape that determines ball motion. Here are our 3 layouts again, with pieces of tape on the pin so that you can see them rolling through the breakpoint. We'll start with the short pin layout. On the left, you'll see a picture of how my layout interacts with the core and how the holes drilled deeply remove mass from the core, resulting in different numbers. The drill differentials of this ball are about half of what they were undrilled, but the ball still has a diff ratio of 0.5. This results in less flare, less hook, but all the drive that you get out of a typical strong asymmetrical layout. As we move over to the strong and angular layout, I want you to keep an eye on what the pin's doing and where it's located at the beginning of the lane and how it moves as it goes down lane. You'll see that drilled, this ball has a higher intermediate diff and total diff, and that the diff ratio is maximized with this layout. The blue dots on the diagram to the left represent the migration of my axis as the ball goes down the lane. You'll see with this layout that the pin will suck to the left side of the ball as it goes through the pins. This is a good way to help you read your ball reaction and see when your max flip layout is actually reading the breakpoint. We're going to compare this layout with the low flare short pin layout that we started with. Since the drilled balls have very different numbers, and since the holes intersect different parts of the core creating different core shapes, we'll be able to see the different shape of motion created. You'll notice that the strong angular layout has the pin going in a much larger circular motion more towards the middle of the ball as I release it. When we get to the end of the lane though, both balls will show how the pin will suck to the left side of the lane. This is characteristic of balls that maintain rotation further down lane and snap harder on the back end. Both of these layouts maintain rotation down lane, which is why they hit hard, but they hook in very different amounts. Now, let's see what the early revving layout does. This layout resulted in very similar numbers to the undrilled ball, and you can see that the holes don't intersect nearly as much of the core. But you will also see that the axis migration path, represented by the blue dots, is very different. The path goes downwards and it ends near the thumb hole. You will see that as the ball starts to go through the pins, the pin location on the ball is actually rolling end over end across the middle of the ball as opposed to being on the left edge. This layout results in the ball losing rotation and tilt earlier and rolling more forwards off the mid lane. Here it is compared to the strong angular layout, and you'll see that on this short flat pattern, there's not too much of a difference in overall hook, but the difference in shape is very apparent, as you saw by how the pin going across the ball drove the ball through the pins differently with the different layouts and angles. What causes this early rev layout to have such a different axis migration path and for the pin to be in such a different spot on the ball as it rolls through the pins? Well, the controlling factor of that are the angles in the layout. The ratio of the angles is what will control how fast the ball loses rotation and how long it retains it down lane. With both the short pin layout and the strong angular layout, the front angle was at least twice the size of the last angle in the layout. Whereas with the early revving layout, the first angle is less than half of what the second angle is in the layout. Using these angle ratios wisely will help you control your shapes and make sure that you strike as much as possible. Grab a results today and be a part of the future of ball motion.